Hi breasties, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Shanne. Welcome. This is a safe space that I've created where we can discuss openly and without judgment the beautiful chaos that is living with breast cancer. Today we're doing something a little different. We're doing a chit chat, but instead of a get ready with me, we're doing a get unready with me. So I'm gonna be taking off this makeup, this mask that I've put on and doing a little bit of skincare. While I talk about how breast cancer or being diagnosed with breast cancer helped me redefine my beauty standards. This is a video I've been wanting to do for a long time because I think people are still very curious about what goes on in the mind of a cancer patient or someone who's been diagnosed, and it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, you're going through these physical changes and consequently you have these emotional and psychological side effects or just effects. I mean, this thing affects so much mentally and physically that it's I like to make the distinction most times when people ask me how I'm feeling. I like to let them know, okay, physically I'm okay, mentally I'm okay, emotionally I'm okay, or not if I'm not. I mean, it depends on who asks. But when I think about the changes that I went through physically, I've lost a breast, I've lost a right breast, I've lost a right lung, and it's mind-blowing. It's mind-boggling to think that I no longer have two lungs. It still baffles me to this day, but not really, because I mean, I don't have a choice. I kind of have to live with it, but I know for people hearing it for the first time, it's very alarming. So how did these physical changes affect me mentally? Let's get into it. So my first major surgery was, well, cancer related surgery was my mastectomy. And I'm telling you, I wasn't scared about it, but the way I felt afterwards, it called into question so many things. It's like, okay, what about my femininity? The things that make me a woman. I've lost a breast. Does that mean I am less of a woman? And I know to some of you it may sound silly, but that's how I felt, and I'm pretty sure that's how a lot of women feel. I've watched several interviews on women speaking about how they felt after their mastectomies and whatnot, and it's the same thing, because this is what has been defined as womanhood: having breasts, no matter the size, big or small, having breasts, having hair on your head. Another thing we can talk about, the hair loss. So when I had my breast removed, I was, I don't know how to describe it, aside from me feeling, I didn't feel like less of a woman, because obviously I'm still a woman, but it did make me question, why do we value these things so much? Why does our value have to be determined by what we have, what we wear, what we say, how we appear, what body parts, what our bodies look like? Why is so much of our worth determined by that, and not just with our self-worth determined by that? So I would say it isn't. In conclusion, I'm going to say that it is not. Me not having a breast does not determine my self-worth. It doesn't mean that I am less of a woman. It just doesn't, because that's not how I measure my worth. So let's move on to not having hair. When I lost my hair, like I've said previously, it wasn't such a big deal for me, but for someone else it may have been. It may have been because this person values their hair and what their hair represents to them, whether it be for religious reasons, cultural reasons, personal preferences, their perception of what beauty is. All of that comes into play when you think about it. So how did my experience help me redefine or shut down or modify what I viewed as, or what I view to be beautiful? One of the main things I learned is that beauty really is in the eyes of the beholder. And I think when we make reference to that, we mean how other people see us. I don't think we mean how we see ourselves. And that's so important, because how you view yourself is really what matters. It shouldn't matter what other people think of you. And I know growing up, we hear that all the time, you know, don't worry about people's opinions, but it's not that easy for everyone to do. For a lot of people, it's not that simple. For me, I struggled with, you know, identity, which is something that most people, all of us struggle with that, you know. But what really struck me is that I created an identity based on other people's perceptions and ideologies, and quite frankly, society makes it nearly impossible for you to know who you are when they're constantly feeding us these narratives of who we should be and why we should act a certain way, without teaching us that what's really important is self-actualization. So no, I don't need 2 breasts to be considered a woman, because it's deeper than that. It's not about one attribute, it's a combination of them. Similarly, your life is a combination of experiences, and that's what makes it unique to you. So you definitely cannot be who everyone else tells you to be. You have to do some introspection and realize that you can only be yourself. There were days when during my chemotherapy treatment, I felt like the ugliest person in the world. And it's not my fault that it really wasn't my fault that I felt that way. It was, you know, the combination of those drugs that had me feeling so down about myself. And I never had any issues with like confidence or anything before. So when that started happening, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to act. I would always just feel so horrible about myself. It wasn't even my fault. And then I had an epiphany. I said, you know what? It's okay to feel that way about myself. It's okay to not be all happy-go-lucky 24/7, which I'm really not. But it's okay to not feel attractive 24/7. It's okay to not feel that way. It's okay to not dress how everybody is expecting you to dress. It's okay to break down these social constructs of beauty, these standards, I mean, can we talk about the BBL epidemic? Why do we have to maintain these standards that set by who? God knows who. It's okay to create your own lane, because comparison is the thief of joy. It's okay to just be you. Focus on how you can make yourself feel comfortable with yourself. Because if you don't do that, you are never going to be comfortable around anyone else. And that's what I've come to terms with. I have to love myself before I can expect anyone else to love me. You know the best way to love yourself is to realize that you have agency over your body. You're in control of your health and your well-being, physically, mentally. So make sure you check your breasts and make sure you check your pecs.